If ashes could talk to you tonight, what would ashes say to you? Tonight, we invited our 3 interns, Eric and Jess and Tomek, who've been pondering ashes this past week, and ashes in their own life and in ours. And what is the meaning of this thing of the earth called ashes? And so we invited them to give testimony to what ashes would say to them, have said to them. But in the end, it's not their answer that needs to matter tonight. It's yours. Really, truly. What do ashes say to you?
Good evening. My name is Tomek, and I'm one of the interns here. In today's first reading, we are called to come to God with fasting and weeping and mourning. I have not done a good job of that. I have never allowed myself to be unhappy. I have experienced reasons to be unhappy: bullying, loss, rejection, the kinds of suffering most people get to know at some point. But I have always refused to acknowledge that this suffering deeply affected me. As a child and a teenager, I was a member of a sailing club. I loved sailing, but I did not really fit into the community of my sailing club. I was the smallest in size and socially awkward, so I was bullied. During that time, I learned to tell myself different things to push away suffering and protect my self-esteem. Things like, I am too complex for others to understand me, so why even try? Or, others do not have their priorities straight and they are bad influences, so it is better to stay away. Or, I can achieve everything that is important to me by myself. Perhaps some of these things sound familiar to you. I thought I needed to tell them to myself because they helped me avoid breaking down and remain convinced that mentally and spiritually I was doing just fine. Which was important, because in the culture in which I grew up, meant it to be tough. But at the same time, I was preventing myself from listening to others, acknowledging my own faults, and building relationships. You would know that if you saw me in my boarding school. Before I came to OSU, I spent 2 years in a boarding school in England. If I tried, I probably could have built friendships with my classmates. But instead, I just told myself that my own interests were more worthwhile than theirs anyway, so why bother to try to connect? I was lonely, but I spent the vast majority of my time studying things that interested me in my single room. I did well in school, so it felt like I was doing everything right. I was very private, and that privacy often came across as arrogance, and rightly so. In college, I gained friends who entrusted me with their struggles and their unhappiness. The Holy Spirit must have guided them towards me because I needed them at least as much as they needed me. Hearing them tell their stories, I started asking myself, why have I never openly acknowledged my suffering? Not even to God, not to mention another human person. I learned that the difference between resolving one's own suffering internally and talking to a friend is similar to the difference between taking an Uber and asking a friend for a ride. That's been a recurring theme this year because the other 2 interns do not drive. Taking an Uber may seem easier because you do not have to coordinate with anyone. It is also less vulnerable. But asking for a ride allows you to say yes to another person, and another person to say yes to you. It is an opportunity for 2 people to become invested in each other's lives. We need this kind of investment to to grow, to see ourselves in new ways. If you have usually chosen to take Uber, if you have rarely or never reached out for help in your spiritual life or in your mental health, I encourage you to open your eyes and ears to those who are ready to share their struggles with you. They can help you see inside yourself in a new way. If you are private about your struggles, the stories of your friends can push you to ask yourself what the source of your privacy is. It might be fear, it might be arrogance, or it might be both. Arrogance reinforced by fear. Making your needs known to your friends will allow you to say yes to them and overcome your arrogance. It will also allow them to say yes to you and help you overcome your fear. As I have been overcoming my arrogance and my fear, I have seen myself more and more capable of authenticity. The kind of authenticity we are called to in today's gospel, which rejects both the mask of dramatized suffering and that of righteousness. Only growing in the ability to honestly acknowledge my painful memories and struggles has allowed me to grow beyond them. Today, Father Gary asks us to reflect on ashes. Within ourselves, we all have fire that gives life. We have all also experienced some suffering that has extinguished that fire in some part of us, in some part of who we are. And what is left behind are ashes. By opening ourselves to the stories of others, and by opening up to others with our stories, we let others blow on these ashes. Now, I might have been lucky because I am engaged to one of the most emotionally intelligent people I know. But there are so many people around you ready to blow on your ashes. This Lent, I encourage to let your friends blow on your ashes while they are still hot. It will burn, but it will let the fire that is life-giving return to that part of you that has been extinguished by suffering.
For those of you who don't know, my name is Jessie. I was going to give my speech about how I'm not a good person, but I was informed by Tomek that that was not theologically sound, so I will table that for a different day. I was told to reflect on ashes, specifically on what ashes would say if they could speak. My ashes speak of loss. They speak of giving something up. They speak of sacrifice. What I'm going to say next is hard. I have not said this to this many people before, so bear with me. The thing is, I had a clear path as to how my faith life was supposed to be. I was supposed to be a part of my good Mexican Catholic family. I was supposed to go to Mass every Sunday. I had my first communion when I was 8. And when I was a sophomore in high school, I started going to confirmation classes. But at the end of my junior year, I did not get confirmed, which is a problem because at my age, I'm supposed to be ready to be a godmother to my many cousins and nieces and nephews. The thing is, I am bisexual, and although I didn't call myself that back then, a day came when I had to admit that I was different, that I was not straight, and that's as far as I got then. But it didn't matter that I couldn't give it a name, because the truth was that the person I thought I was supposed to be crumbled around me. It took a long time to rebuild myself up again. Now, That was not the only issue, but if I stood here and told you all of my trauma, loss, and problems, we'd be here till next week, and Gary only gave me 4 minutes. Just know it was hard to accept myself. It was hard to realize that God still loved me, and that took time and blood and tears, literally. I came out to my college friends, and that helped because they accepted me. And so even if I was not accepting myself fully, I had people who were backing me up. It was easy to come out to them, but then I was home, and everything was hard again. It was easy to tell my brother. It was a little harder to tell my mom, and 2 summers ago, I came out to my dad, which was the hardest thing I have ever had to do. I thought that after I told my dad, it would be easier to come out to the rest of my family, but they still don't know. When I was little, I told my dad I wanted to get married in the same church that he got married in with my mom. He said he was going to hold me to that. When I say that it's more likely I marry a woman, that dream goes out the window. We both had to mourn that dream. The hard part is not that I am gay. The hard part is accepting that I am not the person I thought I would be, the one I was supposed to be, and that I have to put in the work to reconstruct who I am and how that person fits in with my friends, with my family, and with my church. It's hard to say that, my church. It's hard to stand here knowing the pain that the church has caused me, to my friends. It's hard to stand here knowing not everyone wants me to be here. Knowing that some of you will walk out thinking that was nice, but still feel that my happiness is not worth your uncomfortableness. I was told to reflect on what ashes would say to me, if they could speak. My ashes speak of loss. They speak of giving something up, of compromise, of sacrifice, of pain. I am not giving anything up for Lent this year. I don't think I am at a place to give more things up right now. Instead, I'm going to try to open myself up to something new. I'm going to try to come to Wednesday adoration more often. I'm going to try to ask for help. As Tomek said, it will save me money on the Ubers. I am going to try to be more thankful. But most importantly, I am going to try to forgive myself for everything I couldn't be. And try to learn to love me.
My name is Eric Stars, and if you assumed or guessed I was an intern, you're correct. All of us have some sort of ashes in our lives, and I'm here to share a bit of mine. It began on a hot summer day in August of 2016. I remember my heart racing with excitement as my parents and I drove to Newark Airport for me to study abroad in Rome for a semester. Once we found the correct terminal, my dad got out of the car and gave me the biggest hug. He told me, "See you in December, buddy." A week or so after that, my dad became sick, and my family kept me in the loop of my dad's condition. Suddenly, on October 11th, 2016, my whole world began to change. My sister called and told me that our dad might die. I remember hearing those words and having them echo in my head all day as I planned my trip home. But all the planning in the world cannot compete with God's plan, because the day before I was supposed to return home, God called his faithful servant to come home with him. I went into complete shock. I was numb. How did this happen? Why did this happen? After an exhausting day of having a flight delayed in Rome for 7 hours, I pulled up with my friends to my house. I remember saying, everything is different from the way I left things in August. I woke up at 6 a.m., which for me is unusual, but I could hear my mom crying in the next room. And that's when everything hit me like a ton of bricks. My life has drastically changed. Not having my dad home with us for Christmas was difficult, but realizing that he wouldn't be with us anymore was even more difficult. I had to face the reality that my dad was gone. I had to face the fact that there wouldn't be any more family vacations to the Jersey Shore, or just sitting around the dining room table watching the Philadelphia Phillies or Eagles. I would never even be able to have a simple conversation with him at the dinner table. Months passed as graduation day approached, and seeing my friends with both of their parents was difficult. I had my mom there to support me, but it was another painful reminder that my dad was gone. I knew I needed to accept my dad's death. It was too painful for me to accept, and for about 1.5 years, I did not deal with my grief. Not accepting his death caused me to go into the darkest place of my life. Nothing made me happy, though my friends and family rallied around me. The desire to make the pain go away became so intense that I considered taking my own life in order to make the pain go away. As I attempted to drown my pain away, something inside of me woke up. I could see the water over my head, and I rushed right up. It was a terrifying wake-up call that I so desperately needed. It was a reminder that God is present to us even during our suffering. I could feel God telling me to hang on, which gave me the strength to keep moving forward. That inspired me to begin seeing a therapist, which helped me get me back on track. After years of ignoring and neglecting and facing the reality of my dad's passing, I started to feel whole again. My actions were to accept and grieve the loss of my dad. It took a big awakening for me to accept these ashes. They left me with sadness and loss, but they also left me with a reminder of God's ever so loving presence, even in my darkest hour. My ashes are a reminder to us all that even at our darkest or lowest points of life, God is with us and he loves each and every one of us.